right. Are we good to go here?
Yep, I think so.
Right. Cause and Defect. I don't know what episode we're on. 13?
Wow, you can count.
Episode 13.
Good for you.
All right.
The show for serious conversations with not so serious people, guys.
That's right.
You have been with us for 13 episodes, maybe. Maybe you're just jumping right in on this because you saw some clickbait shit on YouTube, and here we are.
We'll beg for attention however we can.
I guess we've fallen to that level. Whatever. But today's episode is going to be on the Fermi paradox.
Ah, yes, or the rare Earth hypothesis.
They're a similar idea. We're going to discuss both throughout. Basically, are we alone in the universe?
Essentially what it comes down to.
Is the question that we're going to be discussing today.
Is this all going to fit in here?
I chugged a little bit of mine. But we decided to, since we do drink almost every episode that we have a beer or some sort of liquor beverage in front of us, we're going to start having a drink moment.
Yep.
If we have a drink.
Can we talk about this? Can I
No, I wouldn't show it just to be on the safe side. Don't show the label overtly.
Where here's the back of the can.
But both of us right now are drinking a Sycamore Goza.
It's so good. I guess, is Goza a popular beer?
I'm sure it's growing.
You never see. I never sit down and hear someone order a Goza. Besides, I
guess I don't listen to other people order.
It's always Bud Light in a bottle, please.
Yeah, that's true. But I really like sour beer.
Oh, it's so good.
It's something that maybe is an acquired taste, but I really enjoy it.
Sure,
personally.
it is. Just like beer in general. Everyone starts with the bullshit beer, and then you kind of work your way up.
Some people jump straight to sours. Like Brittany, for example, doesn't really like other beer still, or like beer, period, but she likes sour beer. Because it's just not beery.
It's more juicy than like a...
It depends. It just puckers your mouth, kind of distracts you from the other tastes, you know?
I like the actual beer taste of it.
All right. I like all kinds of beers too, stouts.
I do too. It was weird. I started with I remember I tasted a Guinness for the first time and thought it was the worst thing ever. And then not long after that, I had that Duclaw's peanut butter porter.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Chocolate peanut butter.
Yes. Ever since then, I was like,
sweet baby Jesus.
I was like, I love porter.
That shit is really good, man.
Yeah.
And
it's amazing.
Guinness doesn't. It looks like it would be nasty. It looks like you brewed cigar ash with water, but it doesn't look like it tastes.
I haven't had it much since that first time. Maybe now that I've acquired more of a taste, I would like it. But from what I remember, it was a very light stout, I guess. Yeah, it's not.
It's milky.
It's not imperial-ish at all.
No bitterness, really.
No.
You would expect that looking at something that's completely black.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Expect you're drinking a cigarette,
it's like piece of charcoal or some shit.
But we're going to start with a section of Q&A.
Always fun.
It's a classic segment for us. We just make up questions and ask the other, no matter what it is, no borders, pretty much.
Yeah. I'm not going to put you too much on the spot, but...
some of the times they're funny, sometimes not. I'm not going to be that funny on this one. Well, not with my questions.
Mine's not really that funny either.
But we will end with a segment of a game called Super Fight, where we pick 2 different character cards, and then for each character card, we get 2 attributes, and then we argue about who would win in a fight.
In a battle.
That's right. A battle to the death.
That's right. I don't think we've played it in a while. At least a few episodes.
It's been a while because we were kind of all over that game for 3 or 4 episodes straight and gave it a little rest. We're coming up with more and more games to play. If you guys have any ideas about games you'd want to see us play, feel free to chime in on the comments.
I wonder if people would like games or more fun stuff towards the middle of the our main segment, just because it tends to get very educationally.
Maybe we can start doing that. We can.
I don't want to interject too much, but it has to be maybe something related to the
But then again, that could be a really fun game where we're in the middle of a deep discussion, and then when one of us thinks about it, we're like, nope, we're playing this game now. Stop it. Write down your final thoughts. We're gonna have an interjection.
We'll come back to this. Right. Okay.
That could be fun.
Okay.
We'll think about it.
But
Brennan.
Yes.
Ask me a question.
Have you ever been hunting?
No.
Okay, I have a follow-up question because I was prepared for a yes or a no. And so if you could, what animal, or if you wanted to at some point, what animal would you hunt?
I would probably hunt deer, honestly, because I know I could eat it, and I would use.
And I'm pretty sure they're overpopulated, so that's a safe answer.
Definitely true. And it's a big game. It would probably be easy to kill.
Yeah, as long as you could get one still enough. I don't hunt. I've hunted one time and I slept. Yeah, I went with my brothers and I just posted up against a tree and took a nap.
Nice.
And then it was like fucking 4 a.m. and it's like 30 something degrees outside.
I get it.
Why the hell would I want to do that? I can just go to the grocery store.
Well, I should say that I haven't hunted, but I have killed an animal or two with a BB gun.
Should we?
I shot a cardinal right through its chest cavity and watched it drop from the tree. Felt immediately bad. I also killed a squirrel.
I was gonna say, should we talk about this? It's gonna like
it already came up. It happened.
It's like the beginnings of a sociopath.
This was a long time ago.
I ripped its head off.
It's not like I didn't enjoy doing it. The game of
enjoyed
shooting it was fun, but as soon as I saw it on the ground twitching, I immediately felt bad.
Yeah, I believe it. My brother shot a bird one time and brought it home, and my dad was pissed. He not yelled at him, but aggressively talked to him and was like, "Are you gonna like pluck its feathers and skin it and do whatever you got to do to cook it now, or what?" And
gives me a lot of respect for your dad.
Yeah, my brother was like, "Well, no." And he was like, "Well, don't shoot shit then." It's like, okay,
that's what I'm talking about.
All right, then.
Go, John.
Yeah.
All right, Brennan.
Hit me.
If you could choose a new first and last name for yourself, what would they be?
I like my first name because it's original. Jones is normal. It's a pretty average name, if not like one of the most average names. Mm-hmm. I would probably. Sorry, this kind of takes me to a story. For some reason, for a small part of my life, I wanted people to call me Constantine.
It's kind of a badass name, though.
No, and
Con for short.
Yeah, and. I quickly jumped out of that phase, and it never worked. No one called me that. But
Brennan Jones, excuse me, I go by Constantine.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
No,
sit down and shut up.
We'll call you Brendan.
Brendan Fraser.
For a last name, I don't know. I'd like something cool, maybe something Hispanic type, but I can't really think of anything.
I would be Thor Dickhammer. Thor is a pretty badass first name, and Dick Hammer just goes right.
You know that
anybody
that's like making a call or like doing an attendance sheet is gonna be like Thor.
Nope.
Yeah.
Barry McCockiner.
Yeah. Mr. Hammer, please. All right. Second question. Have you ever paid for sexual relations?
Thank God, no. I have not. You might as well ask me if I have STDs in the same breath.
I don't know. Some of them may be clean.
Have you ever hunted for lot lizards? No, I have not. No, sir. Have you paid for sexual favors?
I have not. No.
Not even from a random. It doesn't have to be a prostitute. Well, I guess it would make her a prostitute if she took money.
Yeah. If there was the
it would be a
transaction
prostitutional act. Maybe she isn't a professional prostitute.
Wow, I didn't know that was a title. Does it come with like a badge?
I made it up. It may as well come with a badge, like one of those Pokemon gym badges.
Do you get a W-2 for it?
Well, I would assume it's illegal if it's not in a brothel.
True.
They get W-2s.
A brothel. Are those in the
some
United
States? At least in Nevada, I know they're legal.
Well, prostitution is legal as long as you film it and put it on the internet.
I know, that is the most absurd shit on the planet.
Yeah, I think
Can
that's
we agree
weird.
with that, guys?
Mm-hmm. Give a thumbs up for the prostitutes.
What the hell? Yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, if you're enjoying what you're listening to, I need to start getting in the habit of doing this at the beginning of the episode. But if you're
every time.
enjoying what you're listening to, we'll get used to it.
Yeah.
If you're enjoying this, like and subscribe, leave a comment, show us your support. We'd really appreciate it. It goes a long way. We will interact with you if you comment, I'm sure. Until we become these, I was going to say famous people, but that's never going to happen. But we will comment and interact with you. So.
Once we get past maybe 100 comments per episode, we'll probably stop replying then.
Even still, if we get around 100 comments an episode, I'm going to probably read every single one of them.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't comment on everyone, but I'll.
Does it feel wrong if you comment on some but not the others?
It depends on the context.
I guess that's true. You're right.
I'll probably favorite most of them if they're showing love, but whatever. Who knows? All right.
That was responsible of you.
But yeah, like and subscribe if you're enjoying this. That's the moral of the story. Okay, next. What is the worst injury you have ever had?
I have not really been injured that much. Weirdly enough, for how crazy I was as a kid, I got two for you. I know you only asked for one, but I'm gonna give you two.
Whatever, dude.
So I think the worst injury I probably had is I got stitches in my face right here.
What happened?
I was kneeboarding on the lake, and
You knee yourself?
no, I went way outside the wake and came in and did a flip. And then when I landed on the water, my board went in the water and then shot up and hit me in the chin. And it split me right open through here. Yeah, so I got some stitches in my face. So that was probably the worst. I didn't feel it. I didn't even notice. Like, I got back to the boat, and Schuler's mom was like, your face is bleeding. And I went like that, and there was a huge gash in my face, and it was pouring blood. I didn't even notice it. Man. So it didn't bother me that bad. One of the worst things I've done, though, is I was being an idiot. As usual, and me and my family were out at some beach, and there was palm trees, so I sprinted towards a palm tree and just jumped and grabbed it like that, and then I got off, and there were splinters all over my body. I might as well have bear hugged a cactus or something.
Dude. Man, have you ever watched there's a video of some guy that can climb palm trees really fast, and I think he uses a rope, maybe he uses
probably
his bare hands.
So yeah, rope,
and he climbs all the way to the top of like 30-foot palm trees in like 10 seconds.
It would make sense because they're pretty grippy and their things kind of go up, so you have something to step on as you go. I can see that. Those people that climb like fucking light poles and shit, and they do that for like certain strongman competitions. I'm making this up.
Yeah,
there's actual competition where people like hack stuff with axes.
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff like
that's
that,
like I know what you're talking about. It's
so they climb way up and then hack it down. And
what's the word? A lumberjack competition.
Okay, yeah,
yeah. They they chop a slit in a log and then place a 2x4 in the slit and have to jump up on the slit and keep doing that to the top.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Cool.
So it makes sense. All right. You tell me. Sorry, I was going to skip right over you.
It's your turn.
I know, but what was your worst pain or injury? Well, besides your shoulder.
My shoulder was going to be it. I've dislocated my knee.
Oh, God, that sounds awful.
I've also dislocated my shoulder, which I think the shoulder was worse.
Yeah,
the shoulder hurt a little more.
So. I think I fractured a bone in my foot, and that was probably the worst pain I've ever felt.
The worst pain I've ever felt was, I think I've told you this, was getting hit in the nuts with a baseball. I can't portray to you how much the pain was.
I believe
it was so bad that I was gonna throw up. Like I had to sit out the first inning of the baseball game because I was in such pain. So basically, what happened, guys? I was in a batting cage in a podunk town where normally batting cages will be made of square columns to avoid the ricochet factor.
Yeah. This
one had around the outside round metal poles, typical of lining a fence and that kind of stuff. Right. And at this point, I think I was in 11th grade, so I could hit the fuck out of a ball. I had a lot of power, so I turned on it when I was in the cage, I hit the crap out of it. The ball was probably going at least 90 miles an hour when I hit it, probably more.
Yeah, I would think more.
I'm just trying to be conservative. And I didn't have time to react because the pole was maybe 10 feet in front of me. And I turned, and when I was sitting in my follow-through with my hips were facing forward, it just went bing bong right back to my dick. Hit me right on my right testicle, and golly, I immediately dropped to the ground and was just rolling.
Oh, man.
It was, man.
I've experienced
nightmares.
I've experienced that with like soccer balls hitting me in the balls, but it's like a baseball is obviously way harder. But when one's kicked directly at your crotch,
I can imagine.
I've had bruised testicles before.
Have you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's impressive. I know.
Proud of you, son.
It was awful. Is it my turn?
Yes,
it is my turn. What was your first vacation?
Ooh. Well, I'm trying to remember. My first real vacation was when I was pretty young and I went to Hawaii.
Wow.
My parents were fairly wealthy.
Yeah,
so
it's nice to be
it was great, but I got to go to Hawaii. I don't remember a lot of it because I didn't get to enjoy very much of it because I was so young. I mean, we went out on the deep sea to go fishing, and at this point I was very young, so I got seasick really easily. I didn't really enjoy it.
Didn't take any Dramamine or anything?
I did, but I was just puking. I wanted to go
in. God, yeah, I would hate that.
Yeah, but now I don't really get seasick.
would. I've only been out in the middle of the ocean a couple times. Well, less than a couple, maybe just one. No, a couple times. So, but I took Dramamine, but I was very hungover, so I'm so surprised I didn't throw up.
It can be a little. I don't know if you've ever been on rough oceans.
It's
way
obnoxious.
Out. It is kind of scary.
Yeah.
You feel a little helpless out there.
Well, you are helpless.
Yeah, right. Interesting.
I can't say I remember what my first vacation was. I mean, I'm sure we took like little trips to the mountains and Carowinds, but like maybe one of our first real vacations was either probably Universal Studios or Busch Gardens in like, I think it's in Virginia or West Virginia or something like that.
Actually, now that you say that, I went to Disney World before I went to Hawaii. I was even younger when I went to Disney World.
Yeah, you got to go to Hawaii as a kid, and I went to West Virginia.
Did you go there to visit your cousins?
Yes.
Y'all had a big orgy?
Yes, all of us had 3 teeth put together. But yeah, we went to Busch Gardens, just like an amusement park.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do they also own Bush's Baked Beans?
Probably so, yeah. Spelled exactly the same way.
Very nice. Sure. All right. Earth, water, fire, or air?
Is this for pleasure or?
Take it as it is.
Okay, all right. Water.
Nice.
Yeah, I need to survive, so that's immediately what I think of. I mean, Earth. Well, you said Earth. Shit. Fire.
That's a tough one.
Fire would be the most destructive, but besides,
new life comes from fire too.
Like what?
What do you mean, like what? You've never heard of? So, in savanna grasslands. Well, yeah, grasslands and in certain types of forest.
They burn it to make it more fertile.
Right, but it happens naturally too. And that's just part of the ecosystem. It's been for a really long time.
Right, but even though it may create new life, most of the time it's just a destructive force.
Yeah, it starts as a destructive.
There's only so much I can do with that.
Yeah, sure.
So water.
Okay.
I feel like you can bring... Wherever there's water in the universe, there's usually life.
True.
We've never found that to be untrue.
But maybe you could argue that you would need all 4 of those for life.
I don't think so. What was the 4th one besides earth, water, and fire? Air. No, I'd say no air because extremophiles. No earth because bacteria, extremophiles, all that kind of stuff. They can last without any of that.
Can't extremophiles last without water?
Yeah, probably so. But
some of them? Yeah,
so... But I think water is still one of the basic building blocks of life is what we are anyways. So
okay,
I stay with water.
Fair.
How about you?
I would probably choose water as well.
Yeah.
The
hell am I going to do?
Water or air? I don't know. Fire would be my last choice, I think.
Yeah. I mean,
even though fire is it's an interesting thing. It's pure plasma. I see that, and it's pure destruction, and I think it's amazing. I'm obviously in awe of fire almost every time I look at it or I'm at a bonfire. I enjoy it.
It is fun. Yeah,
but
I agree.
If I could control one of the 4, it would probably be water.
I don't know what you would do with air. Make a big gust of wind?
Yeah, make a hurricane or some shit, bro. They made a whole goddamn series about
the air, but yeah.
Avatar. Yeah, that's where I kind of got the question.
I like it. Yeah, I'm thinking like, what are you gonna power your own sailboat or some shit?
That's probably really loud for them. Sorry.
Yeah, well, they'll be all right.
All right, your turn.
Would you become a woman for $50 million? Full surgery, nobody would be able to tell the difference.
No.
Why not?
Because it would... you couldn't pay me any amount of money to cut my dick off.
What do you need with your dick?
What do you mean, what do I need? It's a part of me.
Do you plan on procreating?
Maybe not.
So what do you need it for?
I like it being there. It's like asking if I want to get my arm cut off. It's a part of me.
No, you use your arm.
I also use my dick for hormones and shit.
Okay.
Not my dick, my balls. My testicles.
They
produce the hormones that make me me. I don't want to
supplement that.
I don't want to have to supplement that. Why are you arguing with me about my answer? No amount of money would let me cut my genitalia off.
Because it's
would
ridiculous.
You cut your dick off?
No, probably not.
Okay.
Yeah, I plan on using it again in the future.
You gonna procreate? You shouldn't have children.
I probably shouldn't have children, yes, because I will abandon them.
All right. Any girls listening?
Yeah.
You know who not to mate with.
Unless you want to just take care of a child by yourself.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
all right.
That was terrible.
Would you rather have a delicious Wagyu steak meal while alone or a bad ribeye steak meal with anyone alive today? Anyone alive today.
Oh, if you said anyone, that threw a wrinkle in it. The conversation would be more memorable than the solitude in a good steak if I picked the right person. So I'd go with the latter.
I would too.
You know? Because once I get older, I'm not going to be like, oh, I had this really good steak one time. Yeah, maybe a good story, but I can be like, I had a discussion with, I can't think of anyone really great. I don't want to say someone because it would take me a while to think of the perfect person to have a discussion with.
Right.
Probably like Michelle Obama or something.
Right.
That's not true. How about yourself?
I said same.
Oh, yeah, you did say same. Okay, all right. Next question. Speaking of your meat question, what is the weirdest meat or most exotic meat that you've ever tried?
I've got like 3. I've had shark, swordfish, and escargot.
Escargot, I'd be interested to try.
Not a huge fan. It wasn't great.
I mean,
it wasn't terrible.
Do you like oysters? I imagine it would be.
They're all right.
Yeah.
They're more earthy than oysters, I guess you could say.
Earthy.
Yeah, because they come from the earth.
So do
shut up.
Technically, so do oysters. Oysters
taste like ocean water.
Yeah, that's true. They already got a good salt content, at least, you know. I don't think I've tried very weird meats. I have maybe had venison once or twice. My brother had shark meat and never gave me any, so he's an ass. I have eaten a piece of a sheep's brain before.
Yeah, I knew that. that wasn't. But it was.
It was covered in formaldehyde.
You fuck.
Yeah. We did a project in school and we were dissecting sheep brains, and I thought, why not try a piece? You know,
he just wanted to show off for the class.
Yes, for all the third graders.
Yeah, he wanted to be the coolest guy around.
It didn't work out. I'll tell you that. It did not work out.
All right. I wrote down a 6th question because I wanted to throw a funny one in there.
Well, I have 6 questions.
Do you? Perfect. Okay. Would you rather have a new Tesla Roadster or a new McLaren Senna?
Fuck. The responsible side of me wants to say a Roadster. It would be quicker. But I think a McLaren Senna would be way more exhilarating to drive.
Probably. It's hard to say, though.
That is a very hard question.
I would choose the Roadster, personally, because that fucking thing goes 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds. That sounds exhilarating to me.
Yeah, that does sound exhilarating. That's like the rock and roller coaster at Disney.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God, I could never imagine that.
And it's beautiful. Both of them are gorgeous.
It is beautiful. But a Senna,
I know.
Man.
It would
just got such a legacy to it.
I'm sure it would be faster around a track. You could take corners.
Well, yeah, it's more of a race car.
Yeah.
But I don't want to drive a race car around every day. If I think for
every day,
for practicality.
Let's say it's an add-on. It's your weekend toy.
A Senna.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, goddamn, I would love a Roadster, but a Senna for a weekend toy, just to take out in the mountains somewhere and just fuck with.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Senna. True. Oh yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh man, that would be beautiful. Last question for you. Somewhat alluding to our topic, but not really. Do you think that humans will live forever?
No.
Okay.
Forever is a very long time. Okay, so I'm thinking of forever as beyond the collapse of our universe.
Yeah, I agree. That would be where I would say no to, because eventually
we'd have to go to another dimension. Yeah.
Eventually, even if our universe continued to expand and never collapse back in on itself, eventually all matter that we know would decay. Everything has a half-life, electrons, neutrons, and protons will eventually decay into nothing, and there will be no matter left in the universe. And so how are we gonna live? Unless we create things that help us. I don't know. But either way, I don't think we'll live indefinitely. So it's a sad demise we have.
You think we'll be left with no matter? It still decays into something. It'll still be matter. It'll just be decayed matter.
I don't think it would. Well, if that were so, it wouldn't be structured like what we have now. And even if it stayed around, I think the energy would be there, but I don't think that it would be the matter that we know.
Maybe not the matter that we know, but it would be matter.
I think if anything, it would maybe just be light or photons. I don't know. Everything would expand so much that all the suns or the stars would collapse and die. There'd be no light in the universe. Everything would just freeze into nothing, and then eventually that would just pretty much dissipate into nothing. I mean, there may be like fucking particulate matter or some kind of shit just floating through the cosmos.
Right, because even when a star explodes, it creates nebulas, and if that gas interacts with itself, then it creates something else.
Yeah, but eventually there won't be, everything will have spread out so far that there won't be that gravitational pull to pull everything together to make nebulas and star nurseries or whatever.
You think that's possible?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Everything is already moving that way. So, a million years ago, we were way closer to the next galaxy close to us.
Right.
So you're talking in billions of years, we're going to be so far
spread out. But you're assuming
out.
that the universe is going to never stop expanding.
Well, I don't really have reason to think otherwise.
Well,
besides that, I mean, I know that it's speculated that it would at one point collapse in on itself.
Right.
So either way, it's rendered useless. But I think all matter would, if you think about it indefinitely expanding, all matter would move so far away that it wouldn't be able to create new stars.
I'm seeing it as I don't know how to describe the way that I'm picturing it, but I'm seeing it as just an explosion in general. Explosions settle out. I don't know, because it's expanding and contracting while expanding, because it's like the
universe.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if that's true,
because I really thought it was a series of expansions and contractions that are moving outward.
I don't think that's been proven.
Okay.
I'd have to go back and look that up specifically, but as far as we can tell, everything is expanding equal to whatever's next to it. So we see something expanding so far fast from us, and if you were at that place, the next part would be expanding just as fast from it. Mm-hmm. And we can see what's called the spectra. So we can see how basically the light waves have stretched in order to give to us, which is what Edwin Hubble, why he has a Hubble telescope, he was able to basically see that everything is in fact moving away from us because of the stretch of the light that has to come to us.
Right.
So everything is red shifted is what it's called. It's a little bit more red than it otherwise would be.
Okay.
And everything past that is equally more red, and then past that is equally more red in comparison to the thing closest to it.
Okay.
I know I'm not explaining that very well, but that's how we can tell that everything is expanding away from us and equal to one another. You know what I mean?
Wait, this was stupid. I was just thinking about Earth as the center of the universe when you say everything is expanding away from us, but we're not the center of the universe, obviously.
Technically we are. Everything is... If you listen to like theoretical physicists, they'll say every point in space is the center of the universe because everything is technically a sphere. Everything is kind of like you can consider it like a hollow sphere at what they call t equals 0, or when time was nothing, everything was in one point, everything was the center.
Right.
And so you're basically like, if you imagine a balloon, blowing up a balloon, and you're one part on that balloon, everything is expanding away, but there's no point that's the single center of the balloon. I mean, you can look at the inside of it, yes, but
that's what I mean.
But there is no space on the inside, because space would be the fabric of the balloon itself. So there is no inside. So every point is expanding away from every other point at the same distance and rate. So you technically are always the center of the universe. Everything is the center of the universe.
But if the universe is finite, which I guess we don't know it is, they think that it's all a giant sphere. Mm-hmm. So to me, it makes no sense at all to say that everything is the center of the universe, because something could be closer to the edge.
Everything would be on the edge. Everything would be on the outside of the sphere that existed, would be on this somewhat like a two-dimensional fabric. It's not like there's things on the inside of this. The universe itself is the fabric of the balloon. There is no space in the middle of it.
Well, that's not what I'm saying. We've been they're moving towards saying the entire universe is a sphere. So in saying that, if the entire universe is a sphere, there are things riddled throughout the entire sphere. It's not just on one plane of a sphere.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Is it would just be the plane of the sphere.
How does that make sense?
Doesn't have to make sense.
Well, I know, but what I'm saying is there's a point where this is getting way off the rails.
Yeah, I know.
But there's a point where mathematics and what actually makes logical sense intersect, and sometimes the mathematics might not be right.
And sometimes what you think would make sense would not be right.
Yes, absolutely. And the way that I see that is because when we presume one thing's going to be someplace, and then we use the mathematics to predict it, and then look at this one place and observe that it's there. Oh my God, like that's amazing. That works. But when there are times where scientists and theoretical physicists make up variables and then don't observe them.
Yeah,
they just assume that they're going to be there without the observation. And that's where I start to draw a little bit of a line.
Well, that's why it's all theoretical.
Yeah.
I mean, because you have to, it's basically like almost where like philosophy meets science. I mean, you have to, and they have ways to describe it, and some of it is mathematically. They don't just jump on limbs and hope for the best and put some idea out there.
Right,
some of it is, mathematically or like alluding to that point, but it is a stretch of something we obviously don't understand. So that's just the way that I've heard about it and listened to it.
All right, that's something I'll have to look further into.
Yeah,
because to me it doesn't make logical sense, and I haven't read enough theoretical physics to get a proper idea on what you're trying to talk about.
Right. Yeah, you're looking at a sphere as like it's the Earth and there's a core to it, but there would be no core or no inside of it.
Right. Well,
it's just all wrapping around on itself.
My thing to say that would, if you say that, then it makes the assumption that the universe is infinite. If everything is the center.
This is what Stephen Hawking said. I said this before on here. The boundary condition of the universe is that it has no boundary.
Okay.
So it would, in essence, it would be infinite in the fact that you just continuously go around. There's no end. You don't fall off the end of the universe, right?
Of course not.
So even if we were, let's say, looking a billion light years out into the universe and we saw light, there's no way for us to accurately predict that that's not actually light coming from us in the past and wrapping back around. So we actually have no way of knowing that. We could be looking at ourselves in early stages of life.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's something that my brain can't wrap around. I don't know if anybody's brain actually can wrap around that.
There's a saying, I can't remember who it's by, and it maybe they were talking about string theory. I can't remember what it was, or it was quantum mechanics. They were like, if you admit that you know the first thing about quantum mechanics, you actually don't know anything.
Right.
I mean, none of us know what it is. It's just all, most of it is speculation and trying to just figure out things.
And I already said this, but I don't think we can trust our senses for the most part.
No.
Right. That's kind of a given. Flat Earth people might not agree, but that's kind of a given for me.
It should be. That's why we have telescopes.
But my thing is, I just don't. You can't make assertions, like actual pinpoint assertions, without some sort of observation. For me, I mean,
so you're saying just whatever. If you're going to put down some theory, it has to at least be measurable.
Right. It has to make sense. If you say something and it's purely mathematical, you haven't observed anything that makes any sense with it, and you're still working on it. Sure, you can't say it's still like a hypothesis to me at that point. You can't say it's a fact, I guess.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of points of that you and I would say don't understand, especially mathematically. The reasons why they would come to these conclusions in the first place, and then you get a lot of scientists to kind of go down the same road, and of course they tend to kind of sway the same way. That's why you have like this mini worlds theory. It's technically a theory that there is basically a bubble bath of different universes. And I mean, you and I would look at that and go, there's no way to ever prove that. Like, well, why do we waste our time?
Right.
You know what? what are we doing? But a lot of people do.
Yeah,
I mean, very smart people do.
I get why they do. It's on the fringe of our understanding, and that's an admirable place to be. That's a place that I like to try to be, at least philosophically. Maybe not in the context of mathematics and
right
and quantum physics and that kind of stuff. I enjoy making predictions about our reality just based on what pops in my brain.
Right, I love it all. But you know, if you're gonna make those assumptions or conclusions or whatever you want to call them, there has to be a way to somewhat prove it. Of course, like
if you're presenting it as a fact, or
even as a theory. I mean,
yeah, I guess theories are. I guess if we haven't discussed this before,
I think
to say something is a theory is actually, it sounds like it would be something that's almost an insult.
Yeah, it's like my theory is this.
Yes,
like, no,
it's not a theory. A theory takes loads and loads of proof and different
special general relativity is still a theory.
Yeah, and so is the heliocentric model.
Yeah,
the fact that the sun is the center of our solar system.
Right. I think it comes to, like, if you wanted to stack this up, you have a guess, just a dumb fucking guess. Then you have a hypothesis, which is an educated guess. Then above that, once a lot of people agreed on this hypothesis, then it may turn into a theory. And then theories, if absolutely proven without a reasonable doubt, whatever, it may go to a law. However, we don't make things laws anymore. Like, we have Newton's laws, but I think that's like an outdated method. I don't think there's nothing that I know of that was created even in like the last 50 years that we would consider a law.
Yeah, I mean, things that are laws, they would have to be so concrete that I feel like somebody could have distinguished those a long time ago before the advanced math and all of that tech that we have today. It would have been something that was observable and distinguishable and something that has no contrary at all.
Yeah, I guess that's a fine line. Yeah, that's a tricky line to walk.
There are very few.
You can even say like Newton's laws could somehow be manipulated. I mean, we had to manipulate them in some ways to get the theory of relativity. Even though Newton's laws of gravity did get us to the moon and back, apparently, that's all we needed.
Yeah,
was the rocket trajectory.
All right, man. We are getting deep into this stuff without even touching our subject yet, and I still have one more question.
Oh shit! Go ahead.
Right,
I did get way off.
If you were a professional eater, what food would you eat?
I hate this question because it's just pure gluttony, and I don't want to. I don't want to just shove anything in my face just for the sake of it to win a prize.
That's too fucking bad. I asked.
God damn it. Macaroni and cheese.
Ew.
I don't fucking know. I originally thought hot dogs because I could probably just slide them down my throat. But all in all, it's fucking gross. Yeah. If I'm gonna eat it, I might as well enjoy it. So maybe like some mashed potatoes. I don't think you would say like
chicken strips or some.
No, that's too meaty. It's too much. That would fill me up way too quick. If I'm like looking to win, I need something that's not gonna fill me up that quick.
Okay, mac and cheese.
Quesadillas with extra cheese sauce.
God.
How about yourself there?
Probably like pizza or some shit. I don't fucking know.
That's so bready. It's gonna fill you up so quick.
But well, it's gonna fill everybody else up just as quick.
You're right. All right. Don't get antsy on me.
All right, guys. Let's talk about the Fermi paradox. We went way off the rails just a little bit ago. Hope you enjoyed that.
Yeah. So we're talking about basically, is there any life in the universe other than ourselves?
So
I know we've talked about the Fermi paradox before on this podcast.
We've touched it.
Do you want to explain it? I took it last time, so I'm gonna give it to you.
Yeah, sure. So I guess we're not going to just discuss the Fermi paradox. We're going to discuss the rare Earth hypothesis, which is the idea that we are alone in the universe. Not quite the same as the Fermi paradox. And are we alone in the universe is a question we'll address. It's all kind of the same.
Yeah, it is.
But the Fermi paradox basically entails the idea that since the universe is so vast and so expansive, there are so many different there are so many different Goldilocks planets, planets capable of producing life that are similar to Earth planets. If y'all don't know what those are,
I'm gonna talk about that too.
Right. And like he said, the universe is so old, so a lot of time has passed, lots of times for things to evolve, civilizations to develop.
Mm-hmm.
With that being the case, wouldn't you think that there would potentially be a lot of different civilizations out there, particularly advanced civilizations, because if they've had millions and millions of extra years, even billions of extra years, why don't we see them?
Yep.
If they're there, why don't we see them?
Yeah, I think you can kind of bring it down to, if there are things out there, why haven't we seen them yet anywhere? I mean, it's a tough question to ask. I mean, no one's, as far as I know, no one's been able to answer that question.
Nobody will until we see aliens.
Yeah. And I was going to trail off into a really bad point, but again, just like what I was saying before, like when we do look out into the universe, we see things as they once were, not as they are today. So even if we looked into a neighboring galaxy and could find a planet and could zoom in to see whatever the hell was going on there, we don't see it like it is today. We see it as the millions of years ago, as it took for that light to travel from there to us. Mm-hmm. So it's really hard to say. I mean, everything that's we know for pretty much a fact that no, I'm not going to say that. We know pretty close that we're not seeing any life, especially civilized advanced life in our solar system, because we can see that on a relative scale, within a couple hundred years or so.
Right.
So that it's an interesting point. Enrico Fermi, he actually worked at this place in Tennessee my brother was trying to give me a job at.
Nice.
It was some research lab. Thought that was interesting.
That's cool.
But so with that, I have to ask: Do you think that we're alone in the universe?
I think all of the signs point to no.
Okay.
Every sign that I've seen points to no, and it's gotten to the point with me, at least, that it seems very
egocentric.
Yeah, and it just seems either prideful or like you don't actually understand how vast the universe is.
How did I know what you were gonna say?
I don't know. You don't know how vast the universe is when you say that you think that we're alone in the universe, because there are, as far as we know at least, there are more than 100 billion galaxies,
all filled with billions of stars.
Right, billions of stars. There are billions of planets in the Goldilocks zones in the Milky Way alone. Mm-hmm. And there are billions of those. So,
not to derail you where you're going, but where do you think that point for you transitioned? Where did you think that, like, oh shit, maybe we're not the only people?
I honestly never even had the thought that we were alone until I started educating myself beyond Christianity. I never had the thought, like, we have to be alone. That's the only way. God put us here. I never had that.
Right.
Really, even though I was raised in a Christian household, that still wasn't a thing that was in my head for some reason. Mm-hmm. It started transitioning to me just when I started learning about physics and the vastness of even our own solar system.
And not only that, but the finite nature of the molecules that we have. Mm. I think maybe that's where things started to change for me a bit. When you get into chemistry and you learn that there's a periodic table of elements. Obviously, I couldn't tell you how many are on there. But like the bottom 16 are not even found, naturally in the universe. We created them in labs. Mm-hmm. And so, the most abundant are obviously like the first 2 to 3 in the universe. Hydrogen, carbon, oxygen.
Carbon's number 6.
I don't know. So, anyways.
Hydrogen, helium, fluoride. I don't know that. Somebody fact check me.
I know silicone's right below carbon. That's all I know.
My silicone's number 7. Then hold on, I got to look this up.
It's below it. So that's why like all these.
Come on, baby, tell me I'm right.
That's why all these sci-fi things allude to silicone type creatures instead of carbon, because it's pretty much the same.
It's lithium. Damn it. Where's fluoride then?
Fluoride, that's in your drinking water, son.
That's right.
In your toothpaste.
It is.
But anyways, with the point I'm getting at,
fluoride is number 9. Okay.
Is that there's a finite number of molecules, especially when you're talking about the early universe. There was not very many at all. It took hydrogen collapsing on itself to compress into helium until we got helium, blah, 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 blah. So with that, in the expanse of the universe being, it is finite, but to us it's so large it might as well be infinite. So how do things not recreate itself eventually in time? Like you're only dealing with a few particles or molecules here. How do they not recreate what we have here?
Right. And the thing is, there are a lot of different barriers to creating a civilization like we have.
I have a whole page of barriers.
I bet you do. Dental dams and all.
Dental dams.
But there are, he'll cover these, but there are so many different barriers that we have surpassed that we are just lucky to have all of these different things. Like, even just one example, one of the reasons that we're not hit with a huge amount of asteroids is because of the planet Jupiter. We have such a large planet in our solar system that it kind of coincides with our orbit just enough to deflect a bunch of asteroids.
Yeah, it's funny. So Jupiter's... We're right on point here. I could hug you right now. So Jupiter's 300 times the mass of Earth. So, and if Jupiter was taken away, this is all according to some educational site from some Washington University. Sorry, I didn't write it down. Educational. So if Jupiter itself were taken away, we'd be 10,000 times more likely to be hit by asteroids. Because it's such a big gas giant, it sucks in things from all over the place and brings it to it. Rather than if that big, huge bitch wasn't there, all those things could be on a trajectory towards Earth. And we would, once it got close enough to us, we'd pull it in. So I remember talking about this in an earlier episode. And I didn't get into all these points, but I was just making the statement of, we're lucky to be alive, and most people don't realize how lucky that really is. And that's actually a point where these people come to this rare Earth hypothesis. Like, we have so many perfect conditions in our solar system alone that allow us to have complex life. I
right,
guess.
and that's where I would kind of draw on the point that it may be possible that there's a lot of life throughout the universe, but it would be very simple life. Because with all of these blessings that we have, all of these things that have kept us out of check, I guess, and allowed us to just grow, we have developed that complexity where as if something didn't have those barriers or those blessings, or however I put it,
sure,
they would continue getting hit down, and they would never be able to, they wouldn't be given the time to rise into something else.
No, that's exactly right. Yeah, I just keep wanting to bring up a point. Like, people, like, for you and I, and a lot of scientists, I should start there. If we found bacteria on another planet, we would consider that life, right? And then I'm sorry, I'm going to say this, but people have the argument, like, if you have some sort of zygote in your stomach, it's not life yet. I'm sorry. I had to just say that, but that's quite an argument. If we found bacteria, that would be life. Anyway, so would you prefer that we had company in the cosmos?
It's hard to say, because number one, they could help us. Number two, they could also wipe us out.
Yeah, if they had the technology to get to us, I know we've talked about this before, possibly on this. But what would be their need for us?
Well, if they had the technology to get to us, why? Who are we to say what their minds would be like? Because they might want to either keep us around to study us. We might be under this. We might be in this petri dish that was created by aliens, and they're just studying how civilizations develop.
Yeah.
They may have literally set up our solar system in such a way that gave us all of these blessings and all of these. It's almost like a divine intervention.
Sure.
That gave us the things that we
have. It
have.
would seem divine to us. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's very unlikely. At the very least, it's incredibly unlikely.
It's funny how speculated it is that we did come from something else. That we are. I don't want to say Martians. I feel like people are gonna get off on a weird trail for that. But like, there's the idea that so Mars is a little further away from the sun, right? So it would have cooled at a faster rate than the Earth would have, right, being closer to the sun. So it's speculated that bacteria and things like that actually formed there first. and then in some whatever situation, an asteroid hit it, something hit it, pieces of it broke off and hit the Earth. And that's, where you get this panspermia idea of we were actually created somewhere else and traveled to Earth from some distant place. Right. And then by the time we cooled off, and the reason they bring this up is because, like, as soon as the conditions were right and the Earth was cool enough to start creating, simple molecules and stuff, it happened. And in a lot of places, like you said, you have to have those kind of perfect conditions to allow that. Right. And it just it happened perfect for us. So it's, if you believe in God, maybe this is where you invoke that. But I try not to use that as my scapegoat. But it's very interesting to think that, we really well could be from not Earth itself. Mm-hmm. I want to say maybe they think that water came from comets and asteroids. I think that's still speculated too, how our Earth got water.
I'm pretty sure that's the most common theory. I'm pretty sure it's comets that hit the Earth and melted. Yeah, because
we know that they carry like amino acids and very, very simple building blocks of life. But how that, of course, would land somewhere and grow, it could be a very different. It could just die immediately.
And we really can't, even with hydrogen bombs, we can't really recreate the conditions that happened so early in Earth's formation. Mm-hmm. Especially if the things that happened, like the primordial soup or whatever they want to call it, if that actually happened. Think about the actual impact of a comet hitting a molten hot Earth.
Yeah.
That's a global event. Back then it didn't matter because there was nobody around to observe it.
Right.
But that's something that would be probably, I'm just making this up, but probably millions of hydrogen bombs,
Right. Yeah. It would.
It would be such a devastating impact that would cause some crazy turbidity, and I don't know what kind of shit it would kick up, or how much heat it could produce, or
right.
We don't really know any of that stuff, and it's so hard to speculate on what could happen.
Well, it's funny that they talk about how we haven't hit any like such fatal extinctions that it's like rendered the whole Earth like what do they call it, like sterilized. Like, of course, like 65 million years ago, we had the comet that killed all the dinosaurs.
Right, but that was one of the, statistically speaking, that was one of our easiest or least deadly extinctions. 65 million years ago. The Permian extinction killed like 97% of life on the planet. Something ridiculous.
Wow. But I guess nothing to completely wipe it clean has ever happened.
I guess not.
Well, considering that we're still here.
Right.
But there's an idea that's unusual. And that's another reason, like, we should be thankful to be alive or be here at all, is that we haven't hit one of those major catastrophes that's just blown our Earth into pieces and stuff. In alluding back to like Jupiter, I saw something where it said like, even if like a star or something massive enough came close to us to mess up those concentric circles that are our orbits that we have, that you were talking about, that could actually like basically eventually wipe us out, because it would move us out of whack with Jupiter and things like that.
Right.
And then we'd end up getting pulled back and forth from Jupiter and the sun, and things would get bad.
Yeah, and things happen really, for us, things happen really slowly.
Yeah, on a cosmic scale.
Right.
It's a lot different.
So it feels like things aren't changing for us because our observation is so finite. Our entire lives occur over such a tiny blip that things just feel slow for us. Excuse me. But if something were to mess us up, like a star were to come close, it would take an extraordinarily long time for that to happen, because we are, according to almost every source that I found, we are in a very, like, a rural part of the cosmos. We're very alone. We're kind of out in the sticks, and there's not a lot of shit around our solar system. Not a lot of shit around our galaxy.
We can see other galaxies from where we are.
Right, but as far as the cosmos is concerned, we're almost in the middle of a void.
I haven't heard that. I can't remember what I was going to get at. But, we can see, like I said, we can see other galaxies from our. If you went to the southern hemisphere and looked into the night sky on a really clear night up in the mountains, you can see what is called the Magellanic Clouds, or I think that's how it's pronounced. And it's actually a distant galaxy far away. They're like dwarf galaxies that we can see from here. And we can see like the closest star next to us in the Andromeda galaxy and things like that. So it makes it all seem like it's right next door, but of course it's not. And actually one day, this is kind of off the point, but we're going to collide with the Andromeda galaxy. And it seems like, we'd be able to see it so close, the whole galaxy in front of us. And then one day we just, but
that's not how it's going to work.
That's not how it works. And, I heard Neil Tyson said that even if the galaxy was right next to us, it would still look like it was really far away until we just started sucking apart. But I did hear we're kind of we're like a third of the distance from the middle of our solar system to the very end of it. Our galaxy, not our solar system. Which actually helps us out in another reason why we're lucky to be here. Because if we were really close to the center of our galaxy, you have radiation coming from the middle of the galaxy from supermassive black holes. You have a lot of turbulence, a lot of matter running into each other and hitting each other. But if you go too far out onto the outskirts of the galaxy, you have less of those heavy metals that are created by stars and things like that. You have less of those nurseries that would blow their
innards,
their delicious innards all about.
Delish. Another thought that I did want to talk about while did you have anywhere else to go with that thought?
No, not really.
What I was going to say is that if life was intelligent enough to make it to Earth, I really don't think that they would have much of a problem remaining unseen.
I don't think so, but at the same time, why would they care?
Maybe they're, like I said, observing.
Yeah. I guess if they wanted to study us, but you would imagine by the time they've stretched from one galaxy to another, I don't think we'd be anything special. We can barely, we can get to our moon, and that's it. Like, we can't go anywhere. We're not special in that.
You're saying that we're not special there, but we may be.
Yeah, I guess there's that possibility too. We may be, and they may come across us and see something,
or maybe they're the ones, like I said, that set us up. Right.
Yeah, and
they might have put our moon there.
Yeah, I can't argue with the fact that if that did happen, they could. I think they very well could remain unseen by us.
And one thing that I do want to talk about a little bit is the moon, because our moon is an interesting one.
I have stuff on this too.
Good, because there's one thing that is really creepy to me about the moon is that we always are looking at the same hemisphere. That is really odd.
Yeah, people say there's a dark side of the moon, I guess because of Pink Floyd's album. That's not true.
What do you mean that's not true?
Every part of the moon gets light.
Right. Well, it's dark to us.
Yeah, we only see one side of it, but there's not an actual dark side to the moon.
Okay,
yeah.
That's what they mean.
Yeah.
The dark side of the moon is the side that we've never looked at.
Mm-hmm. Well, we have. But
no, we haven't.
Well, we have satellites around the moon.
Okay,
we've flown spaceship. I'm not saying you and I haven't seen it, but in human we have seen it.
If there's something on the dark side of the moon, we haven't seen it. Civilians have not seen it.
Okay, civilian. Yeah, sure. Okay, I can get on.
Sorry about that, guys. We had a little technical difficulty.
Bullshit is what it is.
It's what it is.
Straight bullshit.
But I just think it's really odd that our moon doesn't turn at all compared to us. It literally, we are shown the same hemisphere the entire time. That's a little odd, even if it turned the smallest bit.
It's what's called tidally locked. We are tidally locked with the moon.
Okay.
So it's at a position where, God, there's so many points I can make on this, but it's obviously what gives us our tides. Eventually, the moon and the Earth will rotate and we'll be double tidally locked, and we'll really only see the same side, and we'll all move together. But the moon is actually is a little bit slower in its rotation than the Earth itself. So actually, because it stretches our Earth towards our tides, it's actually slowing down the rotation of the Earth itself. So that's why eventually we'll slow down enough to where we're both moving at the exact same rate.
That's cool.
Yeah, it doesn't. Probably no one cares, but it's interesting to me. And another point I have to bring up, because it's such an interesting point, and I'm like, why the fuck does it work now? It doesn't make any sense. But Neil Tyson said this is obviously all the shit doesn't come from me. I hear it from other places, just like anything else.
Most of it from Neil Tyson. Apparently.
A lot of it, yeah, a lot of it is from
You need
him.
to expand your sources, pal.
It's a great source. I mean, all the stuff I have on my paper is not from him. It's just little things that I remember because I watch it so often. But so when we went on the Apollo 11 or whatever, when we landed on the moon, 2 guys landed on the moon and 1 guy stayed in the spaceship, right? So this guy was on the other side of the moon from the Earth and is the first person to be completely separated from all of humanity and be the furthest away from all of humanity than anyone ever, because the radio signals couldn't get through the moon to get to Earth. So he's just completely blacked out as
That's
he's
amazing.
traveling the other side of the moon. That would be terrifying.
That would be really cool.
You know, you have no communications with anybody. There's nothing. You're further away from Earth than anybody has ever been.
You know, there are sources where videos that I've watched of them talking about somebody watching them while they're on the moon.
Yeah.
It might be faked.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. I've heard of
Since we're talking about aliens.
Yeah, I've heard I've heard of that with like the audio clips and shit like that. But another cool thing about our moon is apparently it's very unusually large. I can't remember the exact measurement, but it's like 1% the mass of the Earth, and most of them are way smaller than that. Most satellites of most planets are way smaller. But it's
comparative to their size.
Comparative to the size of what they're revolving.
Right.
Yes. But apparently, because our moon is so big, it's actually what helps us stay on that 23-degree tilt. So like I was saying earlier, if it weren't for really the moon, like Jupiter and the sun would move us so much around that our Earth would be so unstable that it wouldn't be able to create life or have a stable climate or environment or anything like that. Our moon's actually what keeps us steady. And over like, I don't want to say millions of years, because now I wonder like how they would have got that number, but apparently the tilt hasn't moved very much since it became tilted.
Maybe the moon colliding with the Earth. That's the theory of how the moon was created. Another Earth-like planet colliding.
Athena. I told you this before. I can't remember what it's called. It's like Athenos or something like that. Another planet that collided. The debris.
It's called something Terra, or like.
Well, our Earth is called Terra.
Yeah, but it had Terra in its name, I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember. It's very possible. I know it had a T and an E and an I. That's pretty much all I remember. But yeah, so it collided, and then all that matter kind of circled the Earth until it formed into what we know as our moon. Mm-hmm. It seems like, the way we talk about it seems like it just happened in like a week, but that shit took millions and millions of years to happen, and we can't obviously fathom millions of years.
That's right. But I think you got all the things I was going to say about the moon. It's pretty interesting that every single planet in our solar system could fit between us and the moon, and 30 Earth-sized planets can fit between us and the moon.
That's interesting. You wouldn't think that because it looks so big in the night sky.
Right, but it's like a third of the size of the planet. I wrote down a little tidbit here. If Earth was a nickel, the moon would be a coffee bean.
I didn't know that because I don't know. Well, I said it's 1% is massive, so I guess the mass would be different than a hard, solid metal core like we have. So that's interesting. That's pretty crazy. I definitely didn't know that.
The moon has a core and everything too,
but not like ours, obviously.
Not the same.
But yeah, it's not heavy metals like ours.
And it doesn't have a good atmosphere like we have, which is another thing. I really want to talk about the things that make our Earth special and made it a good breeding ground for life. There's a bunch of stuff about the Earth itself, not about the things surrounding it, that make it special. Plate tectonics, for example. The shifting connections and the topographical changes, the geography, the chemical reactions between the mantle and the crust, creating new matter. Well, I say new matter, creating matter that is fresh or recycled, and it just, all of that kind of turbulence or turbidity kind of allows things to change and move and evolve. Also, we have a giant electromagnetic field, which protects us from the sun.
So, as far as like the plate tectonics, before you move off of that,
sorry, I was just
no, you're good. I've heard that sorry, I've heard. I researched it on that educational website I was looking at.
PBS?
Yes, PBS. Facebook.edu. But I've heard that the plate tectonics actually help us keep a stable temperature. Just the way they move about and they curve in on them, so whatever, all that kind of stuff. But basically, rocks and material like that will start collecting CO2 out of the atmosphere when things get too hot, and that will cut down on greenhouse gases, which will make the environment cooler.
So I guess we shouldn't worry about climate change.
We shouldn't. We should just continue our path. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Don't worry about anything.
Yeah. So, and then of course the opposite, when temperatures get really low and it seems like we're going to go into a freeze, these rocks will start releasing CO2 and it'll somewhat warm up the atmosphere as well. I thought that was interesting.
That is interesting. That's cool. Who knew that plate tectonics could be so important?
Yeah, or interesting at all,
right?
For that matter.
But
things move.
Like geochemical interactions alongside the biological interactions create lots of different possibilities, you know? So that's something that theoretical people
Scientists.
Well, yeah, I was trying to be... I was trying not to put a boundary on that because a lot of people theorize about how life started.
Sure. Hypothesize.
Yeah, but that gives a lot of different possibilities for what could happen on the planet. So I thought that was interesting.
So I want to challenge you real quick.
I
want to challenge you.
Accepted.
Give me one... Excluding that these boundaries that we've laid out completely make us original or exclusive. Give me one shred of evidence that we have that, besides the Bible, that would conclude that we're alone in the universe.
A shred.
Can you think of anything?
There's not anything.
Yeah. I can't think of it either. That's why I said excluding the Bible, because I feel like that's where people are gonna go. Like, well, it says, heavens and earth. It doesn't say the rest of the shit.
It don't talk about no goddamn plate tectonics in the Bible. What the hell are you?
Pretty sure they're not saying goddamn. or flat earthers in this projection theory or whatever, or everything's just projected into the night sky for us for whatever reason.
Let's not talk about flat Earth. We've discussed enough of that. But yeah, there's nothing.
It's so funny to me.
But I do have a question for you.
Okay.
Would a super intelligent species be rid of their imperialistic drives? So if they were to come in contact with us, do you think that they would have moved beyond the colonization sort of mentality?
At first I want to say no. Because we've never seen anything different for ourselves. As far as humans have evolved, we've always conquered, and taken one another over. It's frightening. You see something different, you don't want to be challenged by it. You want to just own it or take it over. Why anything that could stretch out amongst the cosmos would be any different? It's hard for me to fathom. I'd love to say that they're so sophisticated that they wouldn't rely on that sort of primal instincts. But nothing otherwise would lead me to think that.
So what I would say to that is even now, it doesn't, at least in America and in a lot of first world countries, it doesn't feel like we're constantly at war and trying to take each other over. It's not the same. I don't think war is as common as it was, but it is more totalitarian when it happens.
Yeah, I would disagree with you there.
So I was just thinking of it as like there were a lot of different smaller bodies going at each other in the past. Lots of tribes, that kind of stuff, having little wars all the time. But now those bodies have gotten bigger and we have bigger wars. And because they're bigger, there are less of them.
Yeah, I guess they would be maybe more severe. And we have technology just to fight differently. We don't have to go out with sticks and swords or any of that kind of stuff to fight one another. We use psychological, crippling governments and shit like that to fight wars.
Right, and that's what I'm saying is that all war now isn't physical. It's not physical anymore.
But it still has the same purpose to overcome one another.
Absolutely, yeah.
To gain resources.
That's what I'm saying. That's the point I'm getting at. So we've started to be able to engage in warfare without it actually even being known that we're engaging in warfare, really. And if a sophisticated alien race had come about, they might be able to invade us without us even fucking knowing.
I mean, I would agree with that. But for them, if they're invading, they're doing it for a certain reason, a certain resource, a certain something that they need. So people would still die. People... I don't know.
You're
mean,
assuming that they would have to engage us in physical warfare, which, like I was just talking about, how like.
Well, what else would they need for us to live some sort of ordinary lives to
not know what's going on?
Yeah, I can't see how that would benefit them.
If they're studying us on one hand, like studying our species.
It's a study, but that's not like that's not a totalitarian.
Right, but I'm not thinking of it as a one-dimensional invasion. It would be a lot of different things that they would want or need.
Yeah, it's hard to say what something like that would even want or need with us.
Right.
That's why my whole thought would just be like, do we go up to anthills and try to get them to do things for us? Like, no, we just fucking kick them over and keep walking.
Right, but anthills don't have anything we want or need.
Why would we have anything they want or need?
What do you mean?
A civilized...
If they did come to us, if they came to our planet, the premise of them coming here is that we have something that they want or need.
If they sought out to come directly to us, perhaps.
That's
if
what
they
I mean.
Stumbled upon us in some fashion, just meandering through the cosmos.
I doubt that.
Yeah. I mean, I doubt it too. But I'm saying I don't think they would take a second look at us. Or if they did, they'd go, "Wow, that place looks like fucking trash."
But if, like we were discussing earlier, if life is as rare as people think it is, we might be very special in a way. And it would take a lot of traveling even for them to find something like us.
Yeah, but not in comparison to them. We wouldn't be anything.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm not saying in comparison to them, but it would be worth preserving in a way.
Maybe so. Because I'm thinking of that, like if we stumbled across, it's not a fair comparison, I'll say that. If we stumbled across some new species, we might look at it and be like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like a few people may look at it and go, that's kind of cool.
Right.
The majority of people would get rid of it if we needed something that it had. Like we would far destroy the rainforest for the resources.
We already are.
Right, despite there being things there we've never discovered before.
Right.
Even if we saw it, we'd be like, okay, that's kind of cool. Now what?
I know, but there's no real earthly comparison that can do this idea justice.
Yeah, I mean,
because if they came from the cosmos, the Earth itself would be pretty much what they were after. Because we spring from the Earth.
Yeah, but you mentioned already that we have thousands, billions, trillions of exoplanets that are very probably similar to Earth.
Right.
Like, so we're not special. They would run across things like us all the time.
Well, maybe they wouldn't, because not like there's not a lot of things that have the setup that we have.
True. I don't know. And I'd say it's not common. Like if you could just travel through the cosmos like a drive from here to Charlotte, like it may not be that common, but it would be there. You know what I mean? We're special, but when you come to billions and trillions of numbers, there's probably billions of planets exactly like ours, I would have to imagine.
Potentially,
right.
Right, but our planet, if we are special, our planet is the only one that produced life. Our planet would have very special characteristics because it has gone undisturbed for so long.
If we're special and there's not that many of us out there, or many things like us out there, then sure. I mean, I can't disagree with you. I just don't think that that's true.
Okay.
I mean, I think there may not be humanoids like we see today. They're obviously gonna build off of their environment. You know, like you and I have talked about, like with icicles, they're all very different. They're all the same thing, but they're all very different compared. They're all based off their environment, right? So it would be something exactly like that. They would be the same but different. So I would imagine there's plenty of that, just filling up the cosmos. We may not be able to see it, but it would be, again, very egocentric for us to think that, we're special and that if something came across us, it would have any sort of interest in us at all.
Well, I think that we're special. I don't think that we're the only special thing.
So that doesn't make us special then.
What's your definition of special?
I mean, special would be unique.
Completely unique?
Not maybe completely like one, like the only one to ever exist, but if there's billions of this thing, then it's not special anymore.
Well, there's not billions of this thing.
Well,
That's my point.
Know. That's what I'm saying. If you're saying that we're rare, then I agree with you. But I don't think that we're rare. So I can't agree with you.
Right. But we kind of had a crossroad at the point of special. Like you were saying that we're not special.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So I think that all of the different things that have made us make us special in a way, because not everything is going to have the exact same setup that we have. And if an alien did see us and sought us out and was trying to study us, I think it would be of interest to find what makes us tick and just kind of
the conditions
probe.
That brought us here.
And if they were that kind of advanced civilization, they might have a bunch of different branched civilizations that are studying every other special planet.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's perhaps. I think if anything, we may create some interest. You know, whether it be all the trash that surrounds our planet that they could see and think like, what the hell is this? Especially if you're, you know, coming through our solar system in general, you know, you may find like the moons of Saturn, you know, Europa and things like this, and you know, these icy bodies that may have water and they may have bacteria. That thing might be kind of streaming throughout the cosmos. But if it comes to like complex things like us, I mean, sure, I think it may be interesting, but I think it's very, very narrow-minded too at the same time.
Right. I think that if there are other complex life-bearing planets, it's probably not more than millions of them. It's hard to say, but I can't say that there are billions of planets like ours. I don't think that they're like, because if you whittle it down with all of the different things that make us special, there are probably a lot of us.
Yeah, it seems special to us.
Right.
Because it's all we know. But we have a very, very small glimpse of what is actually out there, right? So, and even, like I said, even if we could look at a planet 100 million light years away, there could be civilizations just like ours on there. We wouldn't know it. So to us, it all feels special. We've never seen anything like it. But like you said, there could be potentially trillions, if not, you know, hundreds of billions of planets in the perfect zone from their habitable star, or from their host star.
I guess just what I'm saying is that we don't have to be alone for us to be special. That's really all I'm saying.
Okay, I can't disagree with that.
Because there's a lot of special humans that are good at a lot of different things.
Sure.
You know, like somebody who is an amazing physicist is just as special or more special than somebody like Usain Bolt or like anybody in the spectrum in between.
Yeah, It all seems interesting to us, but again, if it's a civilization that can traverse the cosmos, they've experienced all the Usain Bolts and all the things like that we can imagine, and that's simpletons to them. You know, their third graders are doing fucking or kindergartens are doing like trigonometry and fucking calculus and shit like that. Like we would be on no scale to them at all. So it's, again, it kind of reminds me of like the icicles. Yeah, they'd all be the same, but they'd all be different.
Right.
So what makes one more special than the other? I'm
not saying one is more special than the other. I'm saying that they're all special. No. Not every single one is going to be exactly the same.
Okay. Yeah.
So they're all special.
Okay. Sure. I see what you're saying. They're all unique in their own ways.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like they're worth admiring and worth studying in their own way.
For a glimpse, if you needed something from that, would it be that interesting?
Maybe they're just in the search for knowledge. Like that's my whole thing. Is if an ancient alien civilization with all this high tech comes across us, if they did come across us, maybe they're studying us in a way to make a different type of consciousness, or maybe they're traveling through other dimensions and that's how they got to us. You know, they don't. It's hard to say. But another thing that I did want to talk about is the possibility that that civilizations are keeping quiet for fear of galactic predators, which is an interesting thought.
I'm gonna need you to dive a little more into that.
So if this is the idea that if there's a bunch of civilizations out there, they're keeping quiet because there is another advanced civilization out there that they know of, that if they heard them or if they were out probing and searching, they would come and destroy them.
This reminds me of like some Star Wars shit.
Or Star Trek, yeah.
I guess it's a fun thing to think about, but in the scale of our reality, it's unnecessary, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. Things could easily hide from us in the vastness of the universe.
Yeah,
you know?
and I guess that kind of alludes to the other thing I wanted to bring up, is that perhaps there is intelligent life, and our technology is just not capable of detecting their signals yet.
Yeah. I mean, I can't argue with that. Eventually, one day we'll
just
get
presenting possibilities. Nobody has the answer to the Fermi paradox.
Yeah, eventually we'll get there. I'd like to think so. If we don't go extinct or kill ourselves before we get there, I mean, but I'd like to think we'd get reasonably close to having the technology to observe things like that. They already have the SETI program, which I'm not sure if it's still going, but it's the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. We have telescopes and radio telescopes that try to grasp any sort of radio waves that may be coming off of other planets. China now has the biggest telescope in the world. It was in South America, and now China has one. And it is fucking huge.
That's awesome.
Like, it's like... I don't want to do it injustice because I don't remember but it's like multiple football fields across.
That's amazing.
That's how big it is. Yeah, and just diameter, not circumference.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's fucking insane.
I can only imagine that the biggest possible... I mean, it would help to be able to look beyond our atmosphere like the Hubble does.
It's tough.
But I would think that the best possible way for us to observe the cosmos would be through a telescope that's out of our atmosphere. Because of lack of gravity, they can make it fucking ridiculously big.
Yeah, and the refraction of light,
maybe they put it on the moon.
The moon probably wouldn't be a bad place. You know, the moon is actually a huge inhibitor of us seeing the cosmos because of how the light reflects off the moon. And you obviously, if someone's pointing a flashlight in your face, it's very hard to see behind it, right? So that's essentially what the moon does. So when we're looking through these telescopes that need to see really far into space, we have to wait for like the perfect... I don't know why it's recording now. I hope it didn't delete the whole first part.
I don't think it would have.
But we have to wait for like the perfect night for the moon to be out of the way and it to be a very dark night, essentially, for us to see very clear images. I mean, of course, we still have the atmosphere that bothers us, but again, like you said, the Hubble telescope is hugely important to us, and we've done a lot of modifications and things to it, which I hope we do in the future. It's been a very successful tool for us. Again, named after Edwin Hubble.
Bubble.
Bubble. Hedwin
Bubble butt. Bubble butt. So we're kind of itching towards the end of this.
Yeah.
I just want to say that it's possible that we're living in a simulation. You know, who fucking knows?
It is very possible. I know we've talked about this, and I don't want to go down this road yet. Maybe we'll have an episode on the simulation, however, but it's very hard to think that we're not living in a simulation to me. The way that I've thought about it and kind of heard about it, if you just look at the progression of just video games in general in the last 20 years, it is insane. Obviously, you remember like the first fucking Nintendos that were there when we were young versus virtual reality and the type of graphics we have on video
games.
That's
in just 30 years.
That's in 30 years. Imagine hundreds of years. It will be.
Imagine millions of years.
It will be indistinguishable from reality, if not better than reality. And we've had this conversation.
We're not going to talk about this. Brennan would rather live in a simulation. And he knows it's a simulation.
It's hard to argue against. Why wouldn't you?
I argued against it.
You did. You and Brittany both teamed up on me. And I was really just trying to urge you guys in a certain direction. But
well, I get the pull of it. But if I knew that it was a simulation, that alone would be enough to deter me. Personally.
Oh, yeah.
Because I would want to be in my real body.
Could you compare it to vacation? Like if you went on vacation, sometimes it seems perfect. Let's just say hypothetically.
As a vacation, I would love to be in a simulation. If I could do it for a weekend.
But have you ever had those thoughts while you're on vacation? Like, I could do this forever. I never want to go back home.
Sure. But then eventually you want to go back home, don't you? You get homesick.
Well, I get homesick after like a couple hours of not being home.
Okay, well, that's what I mean. Like, forever, just living full time in that would be a lot to ask.
Yeah, I could. I don't think so, but I could argue with it.
It would be a lot of fun for a really long time, but
you
eventually I would absolutely crave my real body.
I can't imagine that.
Just to know that it's real, I would.
And you wouldn't know a difference.
Yes, I would. The fact that I know that I'm in a simulation is knowing the difference. If that thought is in my head at all. If it wasn't, then I can't say I would.
But how, I mean, what if like...
Come on, keep going. Because I'm not going to move. It's just that one tidbit. If I knew I was in a simulation, that is enough.
My thing is, you could have the perfect life. You could have anything you wanted, perfect friends, perfect house, or whatever.
Perfect.
It's all exactly. It's this landscape of fucking perfection.
What you're describing is you need to read the book 1984.
I will read it.
You also need to read A Brave New World.
I don't want to do both of them.
You should read both of them.
Pick me one.
I'll read 1984 because that's the one I've read. I've read that more recently.
You create. I don't know what the book's about, but I'm assuming you're gonna get to the point of
it's about a utopia.
You create this utopia and you eventually get sick of it, and it's not a utopia anymore.
Read it. It's not. I can't do it justice by giving a little synopsis.
But the thing is it's constantly updating. I don't know. There's no downside of it if you don't want there to be a downside. Everything feels exactly the same in your brain.
Book. The seed that causes their discomfort is knowing that it's not real. Sure. Knowing that life is imperfect. That's enough of a seed to make them want to go somewhere else.
But why would you?
Because if everything is perfect, you no longer, after a while, you no longer have any gauge as to what's good and what's bad, as to things that you should enjoy. It's all just a fucking orgasm. Like,
I see what you're saying. If everything is perfect, then nothing's perfect. Maybe
it's all just melancholy.
You can kind of create that too, though, for yourself. You can create some destruction or some unwavering virus or who cares? You can make it whatever you want. You can have this sort of landscape of good and bad, or good and evil, or whatever you want it to be. That's the thing.
But you're creating it all. That's part of the whole thing. Is that like, if you're creating it all,
unexpected, I guess.
Yeah, there's no variables in life anymore.
So
there's nothing to make things interesting. It's all coming from you.
I can see.
And then that's where you say maybe you can hire somebody to throw a wrench in the engine.
No, I wouldn't say that, because I would want it to be completely you. I don't know. I see what you're saying.
I would love to do it,
but
for like a limited amount of time.
Sure. Okay, I can see limited, but the majority of the time I would want to spend in this universe. And I'd come back to... It's like being an avatar. I thought about this earlier for some reason. Like, even if you watch the movie, you would want to live in the avatar world. Even if you knew you weren't really that and you were some fucking crippled human. Why would you want to go back to that?
It depends on what would be your predicaments in this reality, I guess, too. It depends. It'll vary person to person. But like I was saying, for me, I would, if I had to choose one permanently, I would choose this one. For me.
It's hard to say until you get into that situation, but I mean, ignorance is bliss.
You wouldn't be ignorant. That's my point.
Do you think eventually you would be? Like, no. Eventually you would kind of just lose sight of it? Like, if you lasted a lifetime, if not a millennia.
Now we're talking about, like...
it's all...
We're getting into Inception and that kind of stuff.
Right.
Like
so
a dream within a dream within a dream.
Yeah, right. But how would you know? I mean, I think... sorry. All right.
It's like asking me to forget that I played baseball. I won't until I get Alzheimer's, you know?
But what if you lived for 5,000 more years?
Well, would I live for 5,000 years in a simulation? I guess it's possible.
It could seem that way. You can manipulate time. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. If you could create a simulation, you can definitely manipulate your brain to create
just living for 5,000 years, you would know that that's not natural. Especially if you have any kind of perception of what normal life is like.
That's what I'm saying. Eventually, you would forget. It's like your memories as a child. Like you don't.
But
you
that's
remember,
not the same.
You remember parts of them, but
because
you don't
as a
remember
child,
them.
your brain was in its infancy, and you did not have complex thought. Really, maybe you did, and you just couldn't express it. But your brain wasn't the same.
Yeah.
Like people in their 80s still remember shit from their teens. You know, it's not the same.
I hardly remember things from my teens.
I mean, I have a couple of memories from pre-5.
I'd like to say I would, but I've like looked up a lot of stuff on memories, and most people's memories are not what they think they are. A lot of people, you feel like you remember it because it feels real in your brain, but it's probably not what you thought it was.
We need to stop talking about this because we're gonna have probably a whole episode
going
about
down a rabbit
simulation
hole.
theory or whatever.
Yeah.
So this could be a long discussion in itself.
Yeah.
So we should jump off that train right now. And maybe, are you ready for the last game?
Let's do it. Yeah, we've been out this for an hour and a half. So
right, and we got way off subject just now. So
I think it's interesting. If you
I
guys
agree.
don't think this stuff is interesting, then this is not for you.
Yeah, if you think it's interesting, stick around because maybe we should do our next episode on simulation theory because we don't have another episode in mind yet. So
yeah,
we need to.
They don't need to know that.
Well, they did already. I fucking said it. So okay, I'm gonna choose that for me.
All right, I'm gonna choose this one for me. Okay.
I'm choosing 2 completely random of these.
If they're not good, I'm putting mine back.
If they're the same as what I've had before. Okay, I've had that one.
So this is we already talked about the game. Never mind.
I've had that one.
So we're picking a character and 2 attributes, and Chase is gonna deck his team out over here while he goes through every card in the deck.
I was choosing ones that I hadn't had.
Okay.
And my guy is decked the fuck out.
The first one you picked up, you'd had already. Yeah. Okay. I'll believe you.
Because they were the ones that I put back. I got 2. I got one 3 stories tall and one 100 stories tall. I think we've had both of those.
Either way,
it's stupid.
dumb.
Okay,
yeah.
So, what you got?
All right. So first, my character is Queen, and I'm gonna assume the band instead of a random queen.
Okay.
And Queen, the whole entire band, can super jump.
Wow.
And they can only see movement.
Jeez,
which should be fine during a battle.
You're fucked.
It should be fine during the... I'm sure plenty of... I take this back.
You're really fucked. You haven't seen my guys.
Imagine... Okay, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know. This doesn't even seem fair now.
Okay, it's probably not fair. You picked through them.
Darth Vader.
I just picked the first ones I had.
This was the first one I got. And the only 2 I put back were 2 about something being tall. That was it. Okay. Can walk through solid objects. And there's 3 of them. Darth Vader. There's 3 Darth Vaders that can all walk through solid objects. There's not even an argument to be had here.
Well, first of all, can only see movement is kind of void in conflict and battle, right? Because you're not
everything's moving.
Yeah, you're not gonna scream at me, you know. If you were in some type of war and someone shot a gun next to you or a grenade blew off, you're pretty much deaf anyways for a while, and they can still carry on. So that one's kind of void. Queen though, so we're talking about multiple gays probably.
Yes.
Prancing and jumping all over the place.
Right.
I would say it would be very hard for Dark. Oh fuck no!
I know you can't argue against me, so I'm going to help you out. What Queen can do is Freddie Mercury can seduce the shit out of Darth Vader with his amazing voice, serenade him to completion.
He's too sinister, man.
Then he can fuck him and give him AIDS. The end.
All 3 of them.
You win.
He would fuck
Just
all
kidding.
3 Darth Vaders, and they would eventually die. Well, they'd all die at pretty much the same time. Maybe parts of Queen would last on.
maybe Darth Vader's asshole is mechanical as well, so he can't get AIDS.
True. Yeah. His asshole is mechanical.
Who knows?
It has like mechanical sphincter.
I guess it's possible, you know. A lot of him got really fucked up.
That's true. But I was going to say like the super jump would help him. They could all be bouncing around all over the place. But
Darth Vader can hold him still.
He's just Darth Vader.
And he has a fucking lightsaber. What else are they going to do? Hit him with their guitar?
It's telekinetic, basically.
Throw drumsticks at him?
He can do it. He can choke people through a screen.
Yeah.
He didn't have to say. He didn't have to have the guy in front of him. He looked through a screen and choked that guy on the show. Like that's a whole nother level. I don't. Yeah. What the fuck is Queen gonna do? Maybe play music so loud at such a frequency that it blasts his eardrums and causes him to be so disoriented while a few of Queen ripped them apart or gave them AIDS.
I guess that's possible. But then again, he could also stop them from playing music.
Potentially. All
Freeze
of them,
them.
though? All of them at one time?
Probably. There's 3 of them. So,
But there's like, I don't know how many people are in Queen, but
4
I'm
or
going to assume
5.
5. Yeah, sure. And they could be... This guy's, you know, he's tapping on his drums. So he's distracting them, and then the other one just starts shredding his guitar. And it's a big clusterfuck altogether. You're all over the place. Who do I choke? What do I do? Maybe I can get 1 or 2 of them.
Maybe
but
you
the
can
other
throw
ones,
one into the other, and
perhaps. But I think someone would be able to because I can't hear anything. I can only see stuff. So I could play music at top notch.
Yeah.
Assuming I had the correct resources and materials.
Right. So if you're playing music, your super jumping is out of the question at this point.
Yeah. Oh, Bluetooth. I could jump around with a guitar.
A Bluetooth electric guitar, I guess you could.
Yeah, you could do that, and some shredding notes to render you useless.
Right, but the guy that
Perhaps.
jumps, what's to stop Darth Vader from grabbing him in midair and throwing him into another bandmate?
Oh, absolutely nothing. I really can't argue with that.
Yeah,
it's
this is a
3
tough
Darth Vaders that are pretty much can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Versus
I haven't even used the walk through solid objects yet.
I know, that's what I'm saying. He can.
I don't even need it.
The only thing I can think I could do is escape.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Probably not even that. Like,
I could probably at least 1 or 2 of them.
okay,
could escape.
yeah. Okay.
The whole band.
Since they got
no.
the super jump.
I could get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And perhaps I could jump very far in the air where they don't even know where I'm at anymore, and I could land right on one of them, kills them, dead, immediately.
But Darth Vader does use the Force. He can sense a disturbance.
What is he, he's got spider senses?
Kind of. Better than spider senses. He feels disturbances in the Force.
What if
Brennan.
all 5 of them just went pew, 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 and then they just start landing on you one at it's basically...
But that's what there's
they're
3 of them.
There's basically asteroids coming at each one of your Darth Vaders now.
Really gay asteroids.
They're still asteroids.
But there are 3 Darth Vaders all sensing the Force at the same time. They can all look up and just stop them.
I could take one... I was going to say I could...
I'm not even going to concede a single Darth Vader.
I was going to say I could grab one and super jump it off the map. But
Off the map?
Me getting to it would be tough. If I could just jump, land, boom, grab one of them, jump it off to extinction.
Right, but Darth
and
Vader
then come back and get
has
another
a
one.
fucking lightsaber.
Yeah, but
Jumping to grab him is a risk in itself.
Do you think he could sense something at terminal velocity
Probably.
coming down from the atmosphere?
Probably.
Nah.
Especially if he saw you
that's
guys jump in the air in the first place.
Well, you jump so far you can't see him anymore.
Right, but he would know you were coming from above. So all he's got to do is sit there. And
Bruh, his son almost killed him. If his son did kill him, I can't remember what happened. And he was
he was the son of the one. And Darth Vader had a bunch of different fucking mechanical limbs. He was fucked up, bro. And old.
Well, he's still dumb and old. So I'd have to say my fairies could jump all over his ass.
I think you're wrong.
I think I could at least take out one of them.
I'm not even going to concede a single Darth Vader.
I'd take out one of them for sure. At least one of them.
I don't think so.
If all 5 of these guys jumped up to where you'd have no idea where they are and just landed on one of them, dead.
Just because you can super jump doesn't mean you can control exactly where you land.
Why wouldn't you be able to? It's
Exactly.
a super jump.
It's not a super land.
It's superb. They could do it. I believe in them. Queen are men of many talents, I'd have to say.
Okay, so what would happen if y'all super jump in the air and Darth Vader walks through the building next to him and just sits there and waits on them to land?
We jump again.
We jump again. Bottom line, you lose.
I feel like I've never won this game on this button.
I think you've won. Maybe
no,
once.
I don't get great characters here.
I've rigged the game.
I think so.
I'm just kidding. I haven't rigged the
Well,
game.
when you like read through all the cards,
You just suck dick.
You're gonna get.
I told you I put 2 away, and they were both involving tallness. If I had replaced tallness with that one, you'd still be fucked.
Yeah, I would. 3 Darth Vaders, though. It'd be hard for me to think of what could be 3 Darth Vaders. 3 Luke Skywalkers,
Yeah,
perhaps.
or I don't know. Dr. Manhattan would fuck Darth Vader up.
So when it comes down to it, people of the Steam Court, we're gonna have to say that I could at least take out one Darth Vader. And
I disagree with that.
Well,
if you
it
think
doesn't matter if you
Brennan's-
disagree.
If you think Brennan's setup could take out one Darth Vader,
One Darth Vader, 5
leave that
guys
in the
that can
comments.
jump out of sight and out of mind and land relatively close to you or something. They could do something.
not take out a
I
Darth
believe
Vader.
it.
They could do
take out-
something.
They could take out one old crumbly Darth Vader.
Oh, he's
That
just Darth Vader.
He can't even run. He just walks
He doesn't need to
everywhere.
fucking run.
He does when 5 guys are super jumping at him.
All right, guys. If you think Brennan's wrong, please let me know, because I
Oh.
know he's wrong. I know beyond a reasonable doubt.
I disagree, but I'd have
course
to
you do.
say, what an episode. I feel like this has been a good one.
I think we had some really good conversations. We derailed a lot, which is fine. That's going to happen.
It had to be interesting, though. It was interesting to us. If it wasn't exactly on the rare Earth hypothesis, I can't imagine that someone's like writing down notes as they listen to our podcast.
Don't take
anyways.
notes on us, please,
It's
God.
more or less just to hear some interesting
Right.
stuff and some funny bullshit anyhow. So I hope you got what you were looking for, one
Yeah.
way or the other. So
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. If you've come this far, we really do appreciate it.
yeah.
We'll be coming out with a new episode very soon. I don't know exactly what it'll be. It might be on Simulation Theory. We're going to make some shit up.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
But yeah, please like and subscribe if you enjoyed what you've listened to. If not, then fuck off.
Then fuck off. And we out.
Yeah, we out. But I first got to say, this is Cause and Defect, the show for serious conversations with not so serious people. Thank you for
pee
your
so
time.
bad.
See you later.